What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So we're gonna check out 8 WWE finishers that were created by accident. This is what makes wrestling so great. Sometimes things that happen not, on purpose or, happen by accident end up being something that may get you over. That may be something that you can add to your move set, or it may be a situation that fans gravitate to, and oh man, I hope they do that specific move again, or that was cool the way they did that, and it becomes a thing, it becomes a trend, and it can get you over, like I said. So we're gonna check out some of these moments where wrestlers, they end up doing something, and it's like, you know what, I may want to use this as a finisher going forward. Appreciate all the love and support. Let's get right into it, man.
It's Becky Lynch's face.
A wrestling move being created out of a botch is kind of rare.
Yeah.
As usually, if a botched version of a move leads to a somewhat riskier move being created, then it's
Crazy.
unusual for the move to be
Crazy
repeated,
situation.
never mind become famous around the world. But in these instances, wrestlers actually stuck with that move, and some even made it their actual finisher. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at botches that led to a new wrestling finisher being created. Number 1, South of Heaven. A Damian Priest South of Heaven finishing move is currently one of the most protected and credible moves in WWE right now. The move even won Priest the world title at WrestleMania 40, and the move stands out thanks to being a variation on the popular chokeslam that has dominated the wrestling scene for decades. Now, believe it or not, the finishing move surfaced thanks to a notable botch, as Priest managed to fall whilst delivering a standard chokeslam. Speaking of Fightful, the former world champion discussed the unique origin of his finishing move, saying, "For the South of Heaven chokeslam, I was training at the old Monster Factory, and at the time the trainer on Sundays was Jim Molyneux, who was a referee for ECW. It was before I had my first match, and he was telling me, we're gonna come up with a finisher for you. Try a chokeslam." The reason why I got into pro wrestling was because of The Undertaker. I was a big fan and just everything about him. When he said try a chokeslam, I got excited, and for the first time I tried it, it didn't come out smooth. Then I tried it again and I fell. When I fell sitting down, maybe because it was a big guy I was trying it on. A Priest went on to say that the next time he did the move, he purposely fell, and the South of Heaven was born as his primary finishing move. Number 2,
and it works because it's not traditionally just a standard choke slam. You're adding that motion of him sitting down. It adds a nice little look to it. I appreciate that. That's cool. I didn't know that. I thought that was something that he just originally came up with as a variation of a choke slam, but that's cool to know that it was an accident and he just kind of went with it. So that's actually pretty dope. And I like the finishing move. It looks good.
Tiger Driver 91. Now, the Tiger Driver is a move that is commonly used outside of WWE. Yet the origins of this move are interesting because the move was created completely by accident. Mitsuhara Misawa was the man often cited as being responsible for the move, and the story goes that Misawa attempted a powerbomb and he encountered an unexpected hiccup. His timing was slightly off and his opponent's body didn't land in the traditional way. The move Misawa had accidentally created was the Tiger Driver, and it would soon obtain a reputation for being one of the most deadly and legitimate moves out there.
If done, hell, done correctly, it looked like you may not walk from that. Jeez.
Number 3, Powerbomb. Speaking of the Powerbomb is another move that became a new move virtually out of nowhere. The origin of the move goes back to the 1950s, and when NWA champion Lou Thesz and fellow legend Antonio Rocco were wrestling, a piledriver spot was about to go down, and the two men inadvertently created the Powerbomb.
Oh, wow.
When the two realized that the move was unique and received a thunderous reaction from the crowd, the move managed to be a regular feature in the matches as the years went on. By the time wrestling arrived in the 1990s, numerous wrestlers in major companies had adopted the powerbomb as a primary finishing move.
I mean, it's a very impactful move. It looks good. It looks like it would put away somebody. If you powerbomb somebody on the street, they're not getting up. You may actually end up, it may be just more than a hospital visit. They may be visiting the morgue. They may not get up from that. Like, powerbombing somebody on the street, very dangerous.
Whilst the first powerbomb was rather dangerous to look at, especially when you consider that the move was supposed to be a pile driver, the move would evolve as the years went on, and there have been endless variations seen over the past 2 decades. Number 4, Trick Shot. A Trick Williams trick shot finishing move didn't surface via a botch. However, the move was never planned and it was never improvised in the middle of a featured match. When Williams was wrestling Ilya Dragunov, Williams decided to hit a running knee out of nowhere, and this is where the trick shot finishing move would be born. The former NXT champion discussed this during an interview with Fox Sports Happy Hour. I would say it was actually accidental. It was Ilya Dragunov trick Williams too. It was just a fight. It was a fight. He's hitting me in the face, he's hitting me in the mouth, he's trying to inflict so much pain. At this point, I'm like, I'm gonna hurt you. Whatever happens, happens. The first thing that came to my mind is, I'm gonna put my knee right in the middle of his forehead.
This is a nice finisher too.
The crowd going crazy was a key factor in the move becoming his new finisher. I went for it full speed. He hit a backflip.
And Ilya sold it perfectly too.
His face was bleeding and the crowd was going crazy. I was like, this right here should be my new finish. I was doing the spinning trick kick before, but in that moment with Ilya Dragunov, when it came down to it and I wanted to hurt you and inflict as much pain as possible, putting my right knee in the middle of your forehead seems like a pretty good idea.
That's tough.
Williams was definitely right in using the knee as his new finishing move, as the best moves in modern wrestling are those that can be just hit out of nowhere.
Bro.
And this was most
Ray sold that stunner. Look at this.
right in using the knee
Look
as his
at the
new
way
finishing
he
move, as
flew.
the best moves in modern wrestling are those that can be just hit out of nowhere.
Sold that,
this
bro.
was most definitely the case with this particular finishing move. Number 5, the diving headbutt. A wrestler regretting their own finishing move is uncommon in the wrestling industry, as traditionally the wrestler will take great pride in their move. However, when the move has a somewhat negative reputation, it's sometimes best that that wrestler distances themselves from the move entirely. When it comes to Harley Race, in his later years, he spoke out about how much he regretted the diving headbutt move, and it's easy to see why. The diving headbutt is a controversial move mainly because it's seen by many as dangerous, and numerous wrestlers who use the move as a finisher have gone on to have lifelong issues with their necks. According to Race, the move itself was created accidentally, and it's easy to see when this watching early versions of the move, as it often looks sloppy and awkward upon execution. It's likely that Race went for some kind of splash, but managed to botch the move and managed to do damage with his head. Due to the move looking unique compared to every other high-risk move, it naturally just stuck as his finishing move. Number 6, the end of days.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure, even not just on the head. You know, you may miss and accidentally, you know, concuss yourself, but just your neck, all that pressure and weight, you know, landing on your stomach and, you know, the neck region, probably knees too. Like, man, I can only imagine doing that night in, night out for 20 plus years. Yeah, it's only so much your neck, your spine, your knees, all your joints can take that type of punishment.
At the end of days, managed to become one of the most protected.
Love this move, by the way. It's still one of my favorite finishers in WWE or just in wrestling in period.
Finishers of the past decade, and this was without a doubt the correct approach to take in terms of the presentation and booking of the move.
Love the
move. The end of
move.
days looked incredible whenever Baron Corbin would deliver it, and the move stood out for all the right reasons. Now, an interesting story about the move is that the move surfaced when Corbin was just playing around at the WWE Performance Center. Corbin shared this fascinating story during an interview with Chris Van Vliet, saying, "Same with Deep 6-2. We were playing around at the Performance Center. We had a crash pad ring. We can go in there and try things, and a kid named Sammy Callahan, I was playing around with him in the ring, and he does this thing where he springs off the bottom rope and catches you for a DDT. And I was just messing with him, and he jumped and I caught him, and I did the end of days on him, and we both sat up and looked at each other like, wait a second, what was that?" Corbin went on to say that he would proceed to redo the move, and then he would send the footage to WWE official Billy Gunn for approval, and the rest they say is history. Yeah, like that's something cool. And then I just did it, and I was like, dude, and I filmed it, and at the time I sent it to Billy Gunn. I was like, yo, I think this is my finish, because I was really trying to find a finish at the time. He's like, that's awesome, I'm gonna use it tonight against the Shield. And I said, don't you dare, I will catch you when you come back. And he didn't, he was just messing with me. But so it was a complete accident, and it's just been something that really kind of put me on the map. It's a cool, unique first time ever seeing this finish, and then I protected it with every bit of my might. WWE rarely commits to protecting a new finisher to the level they did with the End of Days, and it was definitely a factor in the move getting over to the level it did. Number 7.
Yeah, the only person that's ever kicked out of it was Drew McIntyre. It's the only person that ever kicked out of it. It's a beautiful move. It's one of my favorite wrestling moves. It's something different you don't normally see. Yeah, bro. Baron Corbin finishing move, fucking fire.
DDT. Now, it's difficult to find a modern wrestling match without some form of a DDT featured within it. And the unbelievable thing about the move is that the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts created the move thanks to a notable botch in a match. According to the WWE Hall of Famer, he had a front face lock on a wrestler and then he awkwardly tripped over. This ultimately led to the creation of the iconic move. Roberts expanded on the origin of the move during an interview with Niagara Frontier Publications. "Yeah, it was an accident. I was in the ring wrestling. I had a front face lock on a guy. He stepped on my feet and we fell backwards. He went on his head, I went on my back, and the fans went, oh. I went, wait a minute, I've got something here. And then I started working on it and come with it and named it after the poison that everybody outlawed. The DDT would go on to become one of the most famous moves of all time, and it's insane to know that if Roberts didn't stumble backwards and bodge during the match, then the DDT may have never seen the light of day."
That's the crazy
and
thing.
number 8, the Claymore. Whilst the Future Shock DDT was a great move for Drew McIntyre, the Claymore just had that extra element of legitimacy and ferocity as a finishing move, and the fact that McIntyre could hit the move out of nowhere was a key factor in the move getting over. According to McIntyre, he did the move initially during his 3MB days, and the move surfaced due to a botch with his wardrobe. The former WWE champion revealed during an interview with KWCH that due to his in-ring gear being so tight, he was forced to kick up his other leg when executing a kick, and whilst the move looked fantastic, he ended up legitimately knocking himself out. "I was in a match when I was younger, and I was wearing tight leather pants. I ran to kick a guy in the face, and the pants were so tight, I had to kick up my other leg. I accidentally spun and landed on my head, I kicked him in the face, and then I knocked myself out. When I saw the footage back, I thought, wow, that is great. If I could figure out how to do that move without knocking myself out and maybe not wearing those tight leather pants, I'm jamming." The Claymore became McIntyre's primary finisher in 2017, and the move has managed to defeat names such as Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and even Cody Rhodes. But there you have it, folks. Botches,
and that's crazy, man. This is what makes wrestling what it is. Like, just you accidentally finding something, coming up with something, and now it could be a move that's being universally used in all of professional wrestling. Doesn't matter what company, or it could give you a finisher that ultimately gets you over, and it fits your character, fits your, your wrestling character and what you're trying to portray, and a good finishing move that looks painful, looks devastating, looks like if you hit it on someone, you would probably put them in the hospital, is always a good thing. So comment down below. Let me know what's your favorite finisher of all time. Doesn't matter who performs it, in what company, in what era of wrestling. Let me know what's your favorite finisher of all time. But I appreciate all the love and support y'all showing on the channel. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one. Peace.